So what is conscious parenting or conscious discipline? I want to be really clear that it's not a single thing. A lot of people feel like you have to choose a camp. Are you this kind of parent or that kind of parent? And you don't have to choose. Most of these labels for parenting, responsive, respectful, conscious, are all umbrella terms over a bunch of belief systems and strategies, tools, mindsets that you are applying in your parenting life or discipline life as an educator. However, there's a lot of overlap between many of them. And the reason why I choose the word conscious, the reason why I've landed on that one and stick to it, because the word conscious, for me, makes me think about the word awareness. And when I think about what I have gone through over the last 4 or 5 years as a person and as a parent, bringing awareness to a number of things is the primary thing that has influenced who I am today. And it's transformative, bringing awareness to things you just never thought about. Bringing awareness to what I'm bringing, the stuff, the baggage, the mindsets, the beliefs, whether real or not, whether constructed by politics or my ethnicity, my class, my gender, bringing an awareness to all of the stuff that I'm bringing into who I am, which inevitably means that I'm bringing it into my parenting, bringing it into the classrooms that I work in, was huge and transformative for me. Bringing an awareness to what children are going through, what their brains are going through, how they're developing. As an educator, child development is not emphasized nearly enough. 2 degrees in, I have learned more in the last 5 years than I had ever learned in school just doing my own research. Bringing an awareness to how we see children, how children are treated in our society. Bringing awareness to parent or adult child interactions and relationships and power dynamics that were previously unevaluated, at least by me. That awareness has changed who I am forever and has been crucial to transforming the relationship with my child, transforming my relationship to education, how I view education, how I train people in education, and how I educate my own child. It's all of it started with awareness. And that doesn't mean that I don't agree with gentle parenting. It's all the same, but this emphasis on the adult and the adult transformation is what I love about using the term conscious when talking about parenting and talking about discipline. So oftentimes we think of the word parent as a noun. You are a parent, and that's how generations of folks parented. Was there wasn't an intentionality, there wasn't an awareness brought to everything. It was kind of done on autopilot. I am a parent because I gave birth to a child or contributed DNA to a child, so I am parent. By default, I also deserve respect and accolades and a certain level of reverence because I am the noun parent, because I have parented or have given birth or contributed DNA to a person. Whereas a conscious parent, as well as many of these other labels, but what I focus on is conscious parenting. You are now very much focusing on the verb definition of parent. What you are acting as a parent. You are actively and intentionally parenting your child. So many folks, in my experience in the Black community, have literally said this to me in my post. You don't need no books to raise no kid. You don't need no information. You don't need no guidance, right? We're just supposed to know. And there is a lot that is instinctual that we should not be rejecting, but there's a lot that we don't know. And especially for folks in the Black community, we have to be particularly aware of the fact that we have learned and inherited a lot of parenting things unintentionally. This is the unconscious piece of what is passed on to us about what the parent-child relationship should be like based on our own experiences. And what is really crucial to understand as folks living in a colonized country is that our perspective on adult-child relationships are largely influenced, guided, and shaped by our experience in a colonized space. Black folks in particular have for generations been living in impoverished situations across the African diaspora, living in survival mode, living in, let's see, the other word is not survival, living in scarcity mode, right? The same, similar to survival. You haven't had all that you need. And it is very difficult to think about the verb of intentionally parenting when your basic needs are not met, when you are in survival mode, when you don't have all that you need to provide for. These are the most important things that you can possibly think about, is just, are we alive? Do I have food to put on the table? Do we have a roof over our heads? And a lot of people parented in survival mode, and that's the most that they could offer. We also are coming from generations of folks who did not actually own their own kids. And the only role that they mostly were able to play as parent until they were sold off somewhere, or because they were technically owned by another human being, was to keep them alive. Again, parenting them in survival mode. I'm going to do what it takes to keep you alive, even if that involves hurting you. Because loving you is actually dangerous. Nurturing you and making you feel cared for and softening your heart in any way will ill-equip you for this world. Many of us are still parenting in survival mode in some of these brutal ways that were absolutely necessary. And yes, there is still racism. There's a lot that Black folks have to be concerned with, but there is a lot more space for us now to rethink and examine these parenting practices that we've inherited, that we've internalized, that we've normalized. Because it feels normal. Something can feel normal if it's been the norm for 200 or 300 years. Absolutely. But is it really normal in terms of human development, in terms of child development, and what is going to produce citizenry or heirs or future ancestors that are thriving in a world without feeling like it is their job to be subservient, to serve, and to submit to power all the time? We unintentionally do these things. We deny our children the opportunity to feel emotions because we weren't allowed to, because of parenting in survival mode. In any case, awareness is the key of conscious parenting. And so I look forward to sharing with you in future videos all of the things that we can start to bring awareness to, so that we can rethink and shift the adult-child relationship in our homes and in our school institutions. And one of the reasons I will say that a lot of this information is not mainstream is not because it's crazy. It's because remaining stagnant in our approaches to dealing with our children, our approaches to raising them, benefits people who are not us. Training our children to completely submit their will to authority benefits somebody. And we oftentimes think it's us. But it benefits a bigger system of capitalism, a bigger system of racism, for us to knock all the fight out of our kids. So there's also another system that benefits when we are told that parenting should be easy. And if you got to get your kids in line to do this, there's something wrong with you. If your kid is not in line, you're not parenting the way you should. And we reinforce this with one another. A kid does something wrong and all you feel that parent gaze. Everybody turns and looks at you. If that was my kid, blah, 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 blah. Everybody acts like they have perfect angels at home when they see somebody else disciplined. We maintain this system of kids need to be in order at all times, and there's something wrong with your parenting if your kid does something which is 99% of the time developmentally appropriate. We judge each other for this. And so then we start locking down on our kids more because we're afraid of that parent gaze. We feel like there's something wrong with our kids. We feel like we're not being hard enough because our kid did something wrong for other people to see. The shame, the guilt, all of this. It is unrealistic expectation to think that our kids should be perfectly well behaved all the time. There's a lot that we can guide, there's a lot that we can influence, but thinking that you can absolutely control other human beings into just being a complete, like a fly on the wall, to not make any sound, any noise, not to disrupt the space, is denying them of their humanity and their access to the humanity that we are privileged enough to have as adults. We just don't think about a lot of these things and who it benefits for us to parent in the ways that have become normalized in our community. So the other piece is that a lot of the things that we expect children to do benefit capitalism in the fact that we have to make children as much of an inconvenience as possible so that we can get back to work. I don't have time for you to do blah, blah, blah. I have other things to do, right? When we're constantly thinking about something else other than our families, other than our kids, in school situations, thinking something about things other than these children's dignity, and empowering them and who they are, how their souls are being nurtured in these spaces. Just focusing on test scores and compliance and obedience is benefiting someone, and it's not us. So I really look forward to helping you unpack a lot of these ideas and mindsets in upcoming videos and helping you to become more conscious.